So the reason that I built this channel is because I truly believe that there's a lot of terrible financial advice going around. And in this video, I'm gonna personally share how I'm preparing for the next market crash, whether it's 2020 recession, 2021, 2022, whatever it is. Here's how I'm personally preparing for the next market crash. And some of these ideas may shock you, but they have been proven to yield fantastic returns during market crashes and be fantastic hedges against the collapse of fiat currency worldwide. This is Jake Ducey with JakeDucey.com. You are watching I Love Prosperity. Make sure you hit the like button on this video right over there, and let's dive right into this video. Okay, so the very first thing that I did, this is specifically here me speaking from my own experience. This is not financial advice for you to do, and this is my own personal blueprint. First and foremost, I bought a lot of top tier mining and commodity companies. So the inverse with the dollar, whenever there's a big recession, the Great Recession, mining stocks do tremendously well. They are really the multiplier of silver and gold, and we're also talking about commodities. So I stay away from anything speculative, so anything that is like a junior mining company or the lowest tier of a total speculation and exploration companies. I personally stay away from that. I know you can 10, 20, 30x your money when they really take off, but I stick to top types of companies, Franco-Nevada, top silver companies like First Majestic Silver. And in general, the mining sector is up 40% over the last year, even while the dollar is doing good. And historically, mining companies have always done tremendously well. So it's something that even while we are in a good economy, quote unquote, and the S&P and all these things are hitting near highs, mining stocks and gold specifically, because that's what's going to generate the growth of mining stocks, of precious metal stocks, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, whether it's exploration companies like Franco, or whether it's dominant companies like Franco-Nevada. What you're looking at is gold. And while S&P is at near high and all these things they say are at near highs and blah 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 blah, gold's almost at a high. Gold should be the opposite. If the economy was as good as they say it was, gold would be near historic lows. If the S&P and all these things are at highs, why is it that in a lot of currencies all over the world, gold is near or at historic highs, and we're only a couple $100 away from historic highs in America while the economy is good? Why is it that Russia and China are buying up tons, thousands of tons, like literal tons? You know how much a ton is? It's like 32,000 pounds. They're buying, or 32,000 ounces. They're buying that much. So you're seeing that there's a pre-shadow, or there's a foreshadow there of what I believe is to come, and that's why I'm preparing myself with mining. I'm not a financial expert, but I recommend sticking with things that aren't as big of risk, such as the top handful of royalty and streaming companies. Next is physical gold and silver. It's something I'm personally high on. Obviously, that's debatable. What's not debatable is if we do head towards a major recession or market crash, gold and silver will be up. It's a great way to store your purchasing power, and there's no debating that the billionaires and many of the wealthiest families are buying gold. Countries are too. Central banks are too. You know, if you're really conservative, maybe just put like 5%, 2 to 5%. If you're a lot more bullish on it, like I am, you're gonna do a lot higher percentage. But the fact remains that we're near historic highs on gold. Silver is going to follow gold, so gold will go first, silver will go second, and it's something that I think everyone should have at least a small percentage as a total precautionary. It's possible China and Russia are buying all this gold because eventually they're going to re-offer their currency, whether it's a blockchain backed currency or not, who knows, but they're going to have it backed, I think, at least a percentage in gold, and they know they can't win in a military war. Russia and China know they can't win in a military war against the USA, so they're fighting financial warfare. I think for sure they're obviously buying the gold because they don't have a lot of confidence in the United States dollar long term, but I think it's possible from a strategic perspective of taking down your enemy. They might be instituting some type of like a blockchain cryptocurrency, the yuan maybe, that is ultimately blockchain cryptocurrency backed by gold. Why else are they buying it all? So I think it's smart to be prepared. So the third thing that I'm doing is keeping 30% of my income in cash. This is how I'm building what I'm calling my war chest. And, you know, like I said, obviously I have a lot more conservative things such as mining, which has been historically proven to give tremendous returns whenever there's dips in the confidence of the Federal Reserve, which is obviously rightfully so, because it seems like they're going towards negative interest rates. They're printing so much money. They're clearly back to QE4, only they won't call it that in the overnight repo markets. And so I also want to build a cash hoard for more mainstream blue chip companies that when we see a correction, I can come in and have a multiplier in a lot of more mainstream stocks and a lot more mainstream equities. Mine is 30% that I'm keeping in liquid available that I'm building with every single month. I don't know when there'll be a market correction, but I do know, and from all my research I've read, it's how people get very, very, very wealthy. So I want to be prepared for that, for things that I can actively buy while others are not buying and while everybody is selling. So it makes for great opportunities. So I also, for the next point, have cash available. I recommend everybody does. Dave Ramsey talks about, you know, in the baby steps, one of the first baby steps is to get 6 months expenses. First starts with $1,000 and it goes to 6 months. I think everyone should have 6 to 12 months of money put away. This is not money that you're going to go, that you wouldn't go blow it if there was a market crash and Visa went to $2 a share. You wouldn't spend all your cash to do that. This is money available as a hedge against if you lose your job, if there is short-term market panics and cash isn't, you know, you can't get the income you had. This is just as a precautionary measure. I think everyone should have it. This isn't a doom and gloom scenario. It's just common sense, especially when you have other people you're providing for. I have over a year's worth. I've had this well before ever thinking about a market crash. I just did this early on as a way to make me feel safe and for me to not have a lot of anxiety associated with grinding and working on my goals. So I recommend you pick 6 to 12 months. So the next thing that I did and that I am actively doing is double checking expenses and profit margins in my business. So a lot of times when we're on a huge bull market or near the end of a huge bull market in the economy, and especially with cheap money, with interest rates being so low, it's easy to get away from the fundamentals of a cash flow lifestyle, whether it's that you have a job or a business. The same principle provides. If you have a job, then it's tightly budgeting. A lot of times we can get away with that while the economy's good. If it's that you own a business, it's easy to get away from profit margins, and profit margins can dip, but the economy is good. You see the same thing with people that over leverage in real estate and then they get crushed when the economy happens. So I'm someone who's personally really big on profit margins. I want my profit margins to stay as high as you can. A lot of times in the internet world, there's companies running ads online and their profit margins are like a couple percent. They could be as much as 5%, 8%, 10%. But if there's a dip, or like we saw a lot of panic with the US-Iran situation, your profit margin could easily get cut in half or more. And I think it's nice to be prepared, whether it's in your business or your household, to double check and stay disciplined on keeping more money than you are spending. Keeping more money than you're spending. And a lot of times just before market crashes, there's irrational exuberance, and that irrational exuberance makes it so that we don't stick to basic financial principles about saving more than we are spending, and our profit margins in our household or our businesses get screwed, and then it ultimately leaves us in a sitting duck position. So I'm inviting you to double check that. So the next thing that I'm doing is I'm presently establishing additional income sources as a hedge against my main income sources. I think everyone should be doing this. If you have a job, even regardless of a market crash, you should not be sitting duck with one income source only. It's too much of a risk. And so while the economy is really good still, it's important to start establishing another income source, or maybe multiple. So what I invite you to do is just pull out a pen and pad and write multiple sources of income at the top, and start bulleting out all your best ideas, and then go about tackling the next one, and put yourself in a position where in 6 to 12 months you could have an additional $500,000, $400, $4 grand, $5 grand, $200, whatever it is, additional money coming in, so it doesn't leave you totally dependent on a job that you could lose, a client you could lose, or something happening in your business. It's important to be prepared with additional sources of income. There's a reason that the wealthiest people in the world all have many sources of income. So right now, while the economy is good, I think it's an important thing to start establishing multiple sources of income. And hey, maybe you'll get lucky, and your additional source of income will ultimately exceed your present maximum income source. Right now, you might be making $2,000 a month at a job, and you start now working on a new source of income where in 12 or 18 months, maybe that thing's producing $4 grand, and you're making more from your part-time side hustle than your full-time job. It's possible. The wealthiest people in the world all have multiple sources of income. So the next thing that I'm going to do is not panic. If there is a recession, if there is a market crash, clearly the economy is on a razor blade, and there's a lot of different things that could set it off. It almost got set off by the Iran thing. There could be a million other things that could almost set it off. And so it's important to not panic. There's always natural ups and downs and fluctuations in the market. It's very possible that this could be worse than the Great Recession that we had most recently in the 2000s, because there's so much more debt and because there's such bigger asset bubbles. Nonetheless, there's nothing to overly panic about, because it's just, quite frankly, not going to help. And if you take steps now to prepare yourself, either with alternative investments, whether you prepare yourself with having excess cash available, additional income sources, if you're taking the responsible and appropriate and disciplined steps now, then there is nothing to panic about, and it may end up being a fantastic thing to multiply your wealth and your net worth when it does come, because of the war chest that you would have available. So this is Jake Ducey with JakeDucey.com. Thank you for watching I Love Prosperity. If you dig this video, make sure you hit the like button right over there on the side. Let me know how you're preparing for the next market correction, next market crash, the next recession. Let me know how you might be preparing right there down below, and let me know if any of these steps speak to you in the comments down below. Make sure that you hit the like button on this video. The like button is what sends this out into the YouTube universe so more people see it. So make sure you hit the like button on this video right over there, and then make sure that you actually hit the subscribe and bell notification. Bell notification is what notifies you for new videos. So comment down below, I create my own economy. I one time saw a bumper sticker that said there is a recession taking place and I will not be participating. Even during market crashes and recessions, there are plenty of people that advance far in their financial freedom and in their net worth. Make it you by realizing that you create your own economy in your mind, and when everyone's panicking. Do not allow the negative thoughts to start to control you. Otherwise, your brain is going to focus on all of those fears and anxieties, and it can keep you trapped there. So comment down below, I create my own economy. Comment down below, I create my own economy.